very first long walk years ago to inspire everyday people.
Smile, boys. You're on candid camera. Man, you gotta not think about the things out of your control. Think about your plan.
Personally, I can't stop thinking about all that money.
You'll never find another like me. I'm the last of my kind.
Bert, warning. Okay, just keep walking. That's right. Just keep walking.
Yeah, that's it, kid. That's it.
Second warning. Third warning.
It takes heavy sack to sign up for this contest.
The Long Walk. We have another Stephen King movie, and, well, this seems to be a pretty good year so far, because we had Life of Chuck that was done by Flanagan, and that was pretty good. So let's see how this goes, even though I already saw it. So I heard about this, and this kind of movie fell in line with another Stephen King movie also done by Flanagan called Gerald's Game, where it's pretty simple. It almost feels like one of those movies that was kind of like, the term not underwhelmed, unfilmable gets tossed around all over the place. Like, they said like, oh, Gerald's Game was unfilmable, Watchmen was unfilmable, and it's like, well, I don't think anything. I think, even like Wrinkle in Time is unfilmable. I think things are filmable, just you need to, be precise on it, and I think Watchmen, while intriguing and interesting, was kind of like, okay, like you kind of changed a lot in here. Gerald's Game, I still haven't seen. I think it's actually the only one of the few Flanagan films I have yet to see, but I want to see it. But I've heard it's really good and very accurate. And then there was Wrinkle in Time, which we just don't talk about. So, the term gets thrown around all over the place, and this kind of felt like another one of those movies where it's unfilmable. With this concept, they nailed it. They honestly nailed it. This feels very much like Stephen King saw The Hunger Games and went, crap, I should have made that. Why didn't I think of that? So this kind of feels like his attempt to make something kind of like Hunger Games. And it even helps that this is the director of the Hunger Games 2 through 5, I think. Francis Lawrence, who did one of a really underrated film that I'm glad is getting praise now, Constantine. But, for me, I knew him from Constantine, and I saw the first Hunger Games, and I was like, all right, that was interesting. And then I saw, I think, half of 2, and I never saw the other ones. And I was like, okay, that was just kind of whatever on that series. But, I need to just sit and watch it. But you have Francis Lawrence directing it, as I said, Hunger Games and Constantine. But you also have a scriptwriter who was the writer and director of Strange Darling, one of the biggest surprises of last year. I was like, damn, that was really good. So you have these two people coming together to adaptate a Stephen King book, or not book, story, because I believe it's like one of his like short stories, and they, for the most part, they nailed it. They nailed it. So The Long Walk, it's set, in an alternate reality where 50 male contestants have to try and walk as fast as much as they can. They have certain rules, like they have to keep over 3 miles per hour. They cannot stop. If they do, they get warnings, and those warnings add up. And unfortunately, if you get 3 warnings or above, you die. So it's basically a walk or die situation. But with that kind of concept, you're like, all right, how are they going to do this? And they give it all to the script. And the script and the performances are very, very good. They feel very real, very in the moment. I mean, there's a part where like two of our main characters, who are I blanking on their names right now, but they just there's part where one's kind of like little pushing little buttons, and then he like yells at him like, yeah, dude, shut up, and like gets mad at him, and then he like progresses further and then tires himself out, and then that one friend comes in and helps him out, and then he's like, I'm sorry for yelling at you, snipping at you, it's just stressed the hell out. And he's like, dude, it's fine. And it's one of those things where it's like, you know, it's a free-for-all kind of game, or not game, but contest. And they say like, no, it feels very team like, you know, like even though they just met, they all kind of do care about each other. And the cool thing is that they bring contestants from every state, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, it doesn't add up to 50, but you know, from most states. But it's just, this was really well done. Like I said, the highlights for me was the script and performances. And it's also really brutal at times, you know, and it like I said, it feels very real, like the kind of things that happen when you walk, you know, like sometimes your feet, you know, they start to hurt, they start to burn. You get a Charlie's horse as you're walking, and it's painful as hell. So they incorporate a lot of real life leg conditions into this, and I think it's really well done. And you actually care about these people. And I'm like, huh. Even like some people where you're like, yeah, okay. In the beginning, you're like, yeah, okay, you're kind of an asshole. They like say like, oh, because they have some baggage to them that's really sad and really bad. So, you know, and if whoever wins, they get anything, like any wish they want. And our two characters, one of them has a score to settle, basically, and is hopped up on revenge, while the other one says like, you need to see the peace, like see the joy of life. Like you don't want to, you know, it like revenge is a poison. And it also goes back to the script and these characters and the performances. Like you actually do care about these people. So when they get offed, while at times, yeah, it's kind of predictable. It's like a damn, that really sucks, because I did actually kind of like that person. So it hits you. It hits you. It surprisingly hits you. The only real negative I can give this is it does feel a little predictable at times. Like towards the end, it was like, okay, I can kind of tell. I think I know where this is going to go. And it does, but it is kind of one of those like, this is very minor complaint. And so yeah, the script, performances, it was really brutal. At times, it comes to you in like little spots, so it's not like all the way brutal. It is a lot of talking movie. So if you're not really into that kind of thing, where it is a lot of dialogue, it's a lot of talking, and you know, not a whole lot of, you know, action stuff. There's enough action and enough suspense in here. This isn't a full-on like horror movie. But it is suspenseful. It's a suspenseful drama, because you're watching these characters in this situation where it's like they didn't sign up they did sign up for this. It's not like Hunger Games where they didn't sign up for it. They did sign up for it, and then they realize like, oh yeah, we're idiots. Whoops. So yeah, it's just This was a really, really good suspenseful drama. It does have its horror moments in there, but it's very small. But the main focus of the film is the chemistry between all the characters. Like I said, you actually do care for a lot of these people. And to see them get offed is like, damn, that sucks. And, it starts out, being a free-for-all. And it's supposed to be that way, but then it turns into team, and it's like, you don't, like, even like at times where like somebody is like, behind, they're like encouraging them, like, yeah, you got to speed up, you got to keep going, instead of just like, yeah, whatever. And, they actually like they care about each other, even though they just met like at the start of the competition. So it's like, wow, I guess you guys are just better than me. It just shows like just how much they actually do care about each other, despite knowing them for a short time. This was very well done. This is either a very high grade or honestly a low amazing, because I was just invested the whole time. Like I said, the predictable times, it's very minor. And this is, a Stephen King adaptation, and a really, really great one at that. And yeah, this seems to be his year, like, because he hasn't had a year like this in a while. So we'll see if The Running Man continues it, which it's Edgar Wright. So, I'm hoping for the best.